It's October, and that means spooky season, Halloween. This is always my favorite time of year, always go all out for it, and we are kicking things off this year with the aesthetic history of Halloween. We're going to be looking at the evolution of the holiday, visually and conceptually, heading all the way back to the 80s and 90s, the 1880s and 90s, through to today, the 21st century, seeing how different traditions were expressed and how they've changed, or haven't. Bunch of great stuff coming up. As always, I'm your host, Boo Ryan, and this video was requested by a couple of our patrons over at patreon.com/pixandportraits. Shout out to Nate and Kristen, who've been with me a long time. I believe suggested a Halloween retail video a few years ago, Halloween, which we'll be touching on here. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. You make this happen. If you'd like to join them, request a video yourself, or just enjoy some exclusive videos, hop on over to patreon.com/pixandportraits, become a patron. You also get access to digital copies of my book, The Nostalgia Economy. We also have physical copies, t-shirts, the Sleepcore VHS that was just announced, links in description. Like, comment, share, hype, it all helps. Enough of the plugs, let's get spooky. Now I'd like to start by looking at the novelty of Halloween, especially in the late 19th century. Halloween cards, which is what you're seeing here, helped spread word and popularize the holiday. Postcards themselves were something of a phenomenon around this time. We talked about this last year in the Hallmark video, but spurred by postcards, Halloween became a craze. It was new and exciting, and above all else, it was fun. Pretty much everything we still associate with Halloween was present back then. In terms of color, black and orange dominate the palette, the days get shorter, or the nights longer. That burning autumn sun, afternoon, the fall sky is absolutely a vibe. Farm fields, pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns, faces carved into pumpkins. The harvest is obviously closely associated with the holiday, given the time of year and where it grew out of. This is when most crops are harvested in North America. Many of the Halloween traditions still observed today came from immigrants, my people from Scotland and Ireland. It took a lot from the Gaelic festival Samhain. Liminality is definitely a theme of this channel, and it was believed during this period that the threshold between our world and the next was blurred, making it easier to communicate with the dead. Spirits, ghosts, feature heavily in Halloween iconography, usually stylized under a white sheet. Same with the devil and death, tying into seasons, autumn changing into winter. Skeletons, witches, another very popular icon of Halloween. Depictions of witches date back centuries. Most commonly, they're wearing black, pointed hats, flying on brooms, or concocting something in a cauldron. Owls, bats, black hats, each and every one of these things we just mentioned can be found in illustrations or literature from well over a century ago, and if you were to go to the store or a party today, you'd still see them. Halloween has always been spoopy, cute and spooky. Examples can be found depicting wholesome and borderline sentimental imagery, again, from more than a century ago. In terms of traditions, it's pretty much the same. Like I said, parties, gatherings, bopping for apples, putting on costumes, putting up decorations, trick-or-treating, which grew out of guising or mumming, dressing up, going door to door, pranking, being given food. You can find examples from the 1920s, newspaper clippings, ads, decorations, where the people who had grown up with it back in the 1890s, 1900s, feeling nostalgic for their childhood, kept the traditions and aesthetics alive and relevant. Halloween really did rival Christmas in terms of popularity. So yeah, as we see, very little has actually changed since Halloween was established. Obviously it's grown as new mediums emerged, like film. Horror was popular film genre early on, and you can find a ton of examples from the silent era. That's when the Universal monster movies started, which really found success in the 1930s and 40s. Monsters like Dracula, The Monster, Frankenstein, Wolfman, all starred in multiple movies that were as popular as superhero movies are today. I feel like we're in the Creature from Black Lagoon territory with them now. Late stage, we can only hope, but these were incredibly popular movies. In the 1950s and 60s, they found a second life, along with a bunch of other schlocky horror movies on television. These were often presented by a horror host that embodied similar ideas, vibes, as the movies and monsters that have all since been incorporated into Halloween. I'm sure this is a tradition for many of you, certainly is for me, watching horror movies or Halloween specials like It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, another product of the 1960s. It was around this time that not just Halloween, but pretty much everything was becoming more mass-produced. From candy to costumes, stores began carrying the same merchandise, where before costumes would be homemade or designed locally. I love looking at old flyers and seeing the illustrations for toy stores, grocery stores, candy, TV commercials, very popular. Clearly, spooky was no longer a prerequisite. You had costumes, characters from movies, TV, cartoons, superheroes, plastic masks, and smocks. Ben Cooper Inc. was one of the biggest producers of these licensed Halloween costumes. The company was around until the early 90s, but it's most associated with the 70s, which is my personal favorite decade for Halloween aesthetics, long before I was alive, but I love the look and feel. There is something warm and comforting about media from this time. Also, strangely off-putting, a little creepy. Maybe that's just the unfamiliarity, I don't know, but I love Halloween in the 70s. Same with the 80s, a bit before my time, but it was the world I was born into. Comforting, the idea of Halloween safety we start seeing a lot around this time. Horror stories about candy that has been tampered with. Some great horror movies though, some of the best came out in the 80s. Same with Halloween specials, especially Garfield. Iconic. Because of its association with childhood, nostalgia plays a big role in Halloween. Fall, autumn in general, is a reflective time, looking back on the year as it approaches its end. Personally, I love looking back during this time of year. I've celebrated Greta Autumn the last couple of Octobers, revisiting emo in my high school years. There is certainly no shortage of nostalgia available from my childhood, the 90s. I'm big on ephemera, and something I seek out every Halloween is TV bumpers, promos, and station IDs. Something else from years ago that I'd love to revisit, we did a whole video on 90s animated Halloween where we talked about this, when networks would change their branding to include spooky sounds and Halloween imagery, usually paired with Halloween episodes or specials, airing of horror movies. It felt special, and the world around you changed. Still happens, decorations go up, certain items become available for a limited time. It's still very fun. Despite being associated with childhood, Halloween has been embraced by adults just as much. Maybe there was a lull in your teens, but the second you hit legal drinking age, oh boy, does Halloween change. Costumes have always been provocative, but I feel like in the 2000s, they were intentionally being marketed as sexy. With the internet, we could now connect and bond over all our different Halloween memories, share our experience. Thanks to social media, we can show off our different costumes. Halloween decorations have also become a lot more sophisticated and expensive. Spirit Halloween sells some very elaborate and terrifying decorations, motorized with voice boxes, multiple moving parts. Post-retail apocalypse, Spirit Halloween has basically become a meme due to the fact that they replace a lot of big box stores that go under, at least temporarily, for a few months out of the year. So yeah, that is about 120 years of Halloween aesthetics. Let me know what you think. When did you grow up? What aesthetic memories do you have of Halloween? Let me know in the comments. Check out some of our other Halloween videos, like the fast food history of Halloween we did last year. I'll post some here at the end. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share. Again, thanks to Nate and Kristen. If you like what we do and have the means, please consider joining them over at patreon.com/picsandportraits. We'll be covering this topic more over there in the coming weeks. Toss us a couple bucks, help keep this going. Read the Nostalgia Economy. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the future.